Well, futures are in the green on the second to last trading day of 2022. Many analysts have been rattled over recession fears as the Fed is expected to keep raising rates. Joining me now, Labenthal Global Advisors President and CIO Dominick Tavella. Dominick, what are your expectations for the Fed? Obviously, their plan is to, well, just destroy the economy and tame inflation in the same breath. But when does that end, do you think?
Well, the scary part of this conversation is that that's exactly their plan, and it is working exactly the way they designed it. By raising interest rates, they're making it much harder to buy a house, they're making it much harder to finance a car, they're making it much harder for a consumer to go out there. They intentionally are slowing down the economy, and it's working. And the million-dollar question is, when do they stop? When do they put an end to this interest rate hike? And we don't expect that at least until early next year. You know,
there's this new Lending Tree survey that shows that basically Americans are taking on a lot of debt right now for the holidays. So we're seeing it's down slightly to 35%, but the amount of holiday debt is at the highest level since 2015. Average debt, $1,549. That's compared to $1,249 last year. But here's the thing. Every month when we get the jobs data, and we get other government reports that shows us Americans, their personal savings rates are declining, and the amount of debt that they're taking on is jumping. How do you respond to that?
It's what's going on in the economy right now. People are clearly getting out there. They want to go out and spend money. They want to start living their lives again, but they have sticker shock. So whether it's buying consumer products during the holidays, whether it's going out to a local restaurant, there is sticker shock, and that is the byproduct here of what's going on with inflation, right? So what are they doing? They're spending money. They're spending down their savings. They're spending down their reserves, and they're putting it on their credit card. An insult to injury, again, the byproduct of the Fed raising interest rates. Credit card rates now are an all-time high, averaging over 18% a year. So it's really kind of insult to injury.
Dominick, if I could hop in here for a second. White House loves to celebrate inflation ticking down ever so slightly. And whenever there's some report that shows it going down some minuscule amount, they celebrate. But is the average American feeling that celebration? Are they seeing the numbers go down in any significant way where they're like, hey, we're getting quote unquote relief?
Well, the relief is coming in that it's not going up as much as it was earlier in the year, but it's clearly still going up, and the prices are still elevated from where they were a year ago. So when you go into a supermarket, my God, you look at the price of chicken or the price of eggs. When you go to look at the shop for a car, I mean, the prices are ridiculous. So we are still in the stage where costs are actually going higher. Now, they're going higher at a lower rate, but still higher. And they certainly, with very few exceptions, have come down.
Dominick, it's Joe Concha. As far as the economy in 2023, there are more than a few bank CEOs who are forecasting a recession, a true recession. I thought we had one this year already when we had 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth, but they're saying that 2023, probably Q2, this country will see a recession. What do you see as we head into the new year?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right? So if you look at what the equity markets are doing now, even the fixed income markets, you're going, you know, things are not horrific in the economy today, but markets are projecting where is the economy going to be tomorrow, and they're frightened. The markets are scared that the Fed will not ease off on their interest rate hiking policy. Remember, this is always a 12 to 18-month lag but from when they started raising interest rates in March to where the economy actually feels the full effect. So you're talking about the middle of next year. If they keep really aggressively raising interest rates, they will push us into a recession, and maybe a deep one. Our base case right now is it looks more like stagflation, where inflation is still elevated above the Fed's 2% target, maybe in the 4% range, not getting into 2% till 2024, yet the economy is really not growing.
Well,
so something
Dominick,
that looks much more like stagflation.
I'm glad you brought that up, because look, there's been now criticism that maybe 2% is not the right target for them. They're entrenched in their beliefs, and I understand that, but maybe 4% is more realistic. And that way they would stop raising rates. That way they would stop, hurting the economy the way that they are. Just a thought.
Well, and I think it's a good one because the efforts that they're putting into slowing down the inflation in the economy will take time. It's just not going to happen in a day. It's not going to happen in a week. And most experts think this will not get true inflation relief until 2024. So if they can take a breather here, hopefully in the first quarter, and go, let's just see how this thing works out. Let's see if the impact we've put into the economy really starts to slow inflation growth and, God forbid, actually start to bring it down a little bit. I think that'll work. But if they stay hard and fast, we got to get it down to 2% come hell or high water, then I think we're looking at a recession and maybe a deep one.
Yeah. All right. Dominick Tavella, it's always good to see you, Dominick. Thank you.
Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
You too.